sent that autographed picture? Kansas
I'm in
City?
Wichita right now.
Wichita. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it just you and that girl too, right?
Yeah.
That's
But
cool.
we're live now, so we'll jump into this.
All right. How we doing, everybody? How we doing, Hannibal?
We're doing great. We are here with none other than the first man to bench press over 700 pounds, world-class power lifter. He's got an LJN WWE action figure, one of the first successful power lifters to make the transition to pro wrestling. Ted Arcidi, how are you doing today, sir?
Excellent. Every day above ground, right? It's a good fucking day.
Yeah, I mean, you were just telling me about it. Everyone's dying. All your friends have passed. I don't know exactly how old you are, but you're above like the average for wrestlers and bodybuilders.
Yeah. It's very strange. I'm in my early 60s, and these guys aren't far from me. Some of them are younger, and I don't know if it's traced back to the shit they did up their nose in the 80s or just the Xanax and the things like that, because a lot of guys did that, and it just catches up. You fuck with your heart like that, it's going to come back and haunt you. It scars your heart tissue, and that's not good. That's not good at all.
Yeah, because if you look at the quote unquote steroid users from that era, a lot of the ones that were taking steroids were also doing that other party stuff.
Yeah.
And
so your heart never gets a real rest like what you should get in recuperative sleep, regenerative sleep. It's all artificial, so it doesn't get to that deep REM sleep. So it doesn't, help your heart rest at all, and it actually causes damage. And then, these guys, I feel bad because a lot of them are good guys, and they loved the life and they thought it was never going to end. And then it's catching up with them. I mean, look at my buddy Jake Roberts. He's still wearing that mask, I think, off and on, that oxygen mask. I don't know how much of a smoker he was, but that's catching up to him. That always does with smoking, because it hurts the inside of your lungs, and eventually you fucking choke to death. It's horrible.
He's lucky. I don't know if you heard, he's under AEW contract now. They don't even really do anything with him, and he makes about $600,000 a year.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Maybe he could do commentary or something, or maybe go in and do a DTT if he's feeling better, if his fucking bowels are passing okay,
Yeah. Was there any one guy that it bothered you the most that you were closest with that's passed in wrestling?
Yeah, it's a Sheik. Him and Volkov, I was really tight with those guys. They took me under the wing. And even before I got into wrestling, Patera, he was phenomenal. He's still around, thank God. But yeah, the Sheik, Vince had a program for me and the Sheik in the Midwest, and we did phenomenal. It was like the main event, the whole Midwest tour and part of the LA tour, the California tour. And like Stud, he just walked me through the matches, and we just popped, because when they see the strongest man in the world, they never seen anybody my size. And then with the Sheik, who's a hell of a worker, and he had so much heat, literally, the place went shithouse. It was great. I think the guy who reffed us during the time was Herb. He might have passed. Herb Webner, I think. Is that the guy?
Oh, really? Or Earl Hebner?
Earl, yeah. Earl,
his brother Dave passed. Dave passed.
Okay,
Earl's still alive.
Yeah, but no, those two guys I miss the most. I really do. And I mean, what do you think, Hannibal? We got what, from my generation, is it like 60% of us are dead now?
Yeah, definitely. Wow. It's. Did you find it strange that the Sheik passed after Volkov?
Yeah, maybe they were tight like blood brothers, but I didn't realize how old the Sheik was. He was in his 80s. He looked fucking good. He really looked good. And, I keep pushing the fact that this guy was an Olympic champion, Olympic fucking champion, and, real wrestling, gold medal. And he was probably, most people I think would agree with me. No one fucked with him. I think he was the toughest in the WWE. I really do. He could tie anybody in a fucking knot. And he was great. He was
another really one that passed was Billy Graham, and I know you donated to his GoFundMe a couple times.
Yeah, I did that. Billy was really cool with me. He gave me a lot of guidance when I was on the West Coast, and I was very lucky to get that guidance from him. at the tail end of his career, because I mean, Superstar was like one of the first consummate bodybuilding, powerlifting guys into the ring, and he looked the balls, and he had a great, ring psychology, and just a good guy. And yeah, it's sad how he went, because I thought he was going to make it, but they needed money for the surgeries, and he made it through one surgery. But then, like the Pope, he just died, So that's
He literally died because they ran out of money to fund him, and it's too bad WWE didn't step in there.
Yeah, with all the money they're making, I think Paul would have fucking stepped up on that. I'm sure they knew that was happening and stuff. But I'm just curious, Hannibal. Didn't Medicaid? He's covered. He's a U.S. citizen. Why wouldn't they cover his operations and stuff? Like, I think
I think they covered it to an extent. And we'd have to ask Valerie, but there was a certain limit. Like, he was still in the hospital when he died, but he needed further treatments to get out of the hospital, and eventually
How old was he?
79. He was pretty close to 80, actually.
Yeah.
So there's another guy. He didn't actually do coke or anything, and I think that helped him because he took ridiculous amounts of steroids, and he still lived a pretty long life.
Yeah, I'm not sure what he took, but I can tell you this: he was in the Arnold generation, and not for nothing, but those guys just took the basics. They just took the basics. Like I took the basics. I took Dianabol, Winstrol, Anavar for orals, and then testosterone cypionate, and was it the Decadurablin, And then nobody believes this, but this is what these guys were taking too. My last 2 weeks before my big lift, when I set the world record, I was only taking 750 milligrams a week. That's the most I've ever taken. And I would take that the last 2 weeks before I blew up 700 pounds, And I think the problem today is they do that in a fucking day now. Can you believe that shit? That's unbelievable. So their liver can't take it. They don't get the smarts, they're not good about it. And I think one of the big thing is before they get on the steroids, they should have done what me and Arnold did. And also Superstar. We worked our ass off half the time of the year, all natural. So we get that way you increase your tendon strength, your ligament strength, your muscle insertions. They get good endurance. So when you take the shit, you can add another 100 pounds, But if you don't take the time off and clean your receptors out and make yourself naturally strong, you're going to get injured because it does weaken you. You can't rely on that shit. And before I got into the steroids, I was a senior in college and I was doing my student teaching in Concord, Mass. And it was May that year when I graduated, May of '82, Norwich University. I knew I was going to get on the shit, and don't mind mine. And I ended up trying a natural bench. I got up to a 600-pound natural bench, and no one believes that, but that's the truth. 600 pounds natural.
Wow.
And when I did that, I said, I know I'm going to set the record, man, because I just, I put that up, and that was clean, weighing like 280, so I was.
Can you tell us a little bit more about you're still busy there, by the way, fans. He does have an event. Let's just give it a quick plug now. May 3rd, coming up in Manchester, New Hampshire. You have an event coming up there, right?
Yeah, I got a signing here at my store, Weightlifters Warehouse in Manchester, New Hampshire. And that's going to be good. And I just want to give back to the people, man, that pushed me, that bought my pay-per-view, my merch. And
thanks
stuff
for
like
these,
that.
By the way. You personally signed me a couple of these.
Oh man,
I appreciate it.
One from World Class, one from WWE. Those are good shots too.
Yeah, those are amazing.
Cool.
You're one of the nicest wrestlers.
People can get those, no charge, and they can raffle. We're going to give a free raffle for 2 package dolls of my LJN, which I believe are $2,000 each now online.
Wow.
Package dolls. So I'm psyched about that. And
that's
I'm just
Paul Bear with you, right?
where, I'm making money with the acting, with the real estate I got in my store, and I just want to give back. I'm not like these other wrestlers where they, charge $40 for a fucking headshot. It's like, come on, man. These people, they paid your ass. They were in their seats and they bought the pay-per-views and stuff. I don't know, unless they need the money, if they're really hurting that bad, which I understand some wrestlers are, right, Hannibal?
Well, definitely. But even now in WWE, they don't want their wrestlers signing autographs. I don't know if you've heard this. They want people to not bother the wrestlers unless it's a paid WWE autograph
Oh, okay. So they
event.
save their signings for the paid WWE ones.
Yeah.
That way they can command more of a price. I don't know. I'm not like that. If anyone, even if they come up to me at my farm or on the street or at the supermarket, I just sign. It's like, fuck, man, I just can't. That's just not Christian. It's not right,
Yeah, and back in your day, I mean, you were going 7 days a week wrestling too.
Oh,
Now
yeah.
they only wrestle 1 day a week, and they'll act like, "Oh my God, someone's stopping me in the airport for an autograph. This ruins my whole day."
Wrestling 1 day a week now.
Yes, there's no more house shows. I'm not kidding.
That's
and the
fucking
minimum
horrible.
pay is $350 a year. The minimum pay is $350 a year.
Wow.
And it's 1 day a week. If there's a pay-per-view, maybe 2 if you're one of the top guys, but that's it.
Yeah. Well, if you get a hold of Paul Levesque, Triple H, I'm trying to get a hold of him. He put me over the other night at his Hall of Fame speech, and Paul used to work with me here. He helped me out.
If you have a message, you know what? Say something, and I'll tweet it. I'll make a clip of it, and I'll tweet it directly to him.
Okay, let me know. Should I do that now?
Yeah, sure. Do it right now.
Paul Levesque, how the fuck are you, man? Thank you for putting me over the other night at the Hall of Fame speech. I love you, man. I've been trying to get a hold of you. You've done so well. You helped my ass out here at Weightlifters Warehouse, New England Women's Gym. You remember those days? We used to hang. I want to talk to you. I want to see how you're doing. I know you're doing fucking unbelievable, and you deserve everything you got coming to you, Paul. And I'm so happy for you. And just give me a shout, man, will you? And my phone number, Hannibal will give it to you. All right. Does that sound good, Hannibal?
Exactly. Or he can do that, and I'll be happy to. Or Weightlifters Warehouse.
Or he could call me at Weightlifters Warehouse. Yeah. Put that number up for him. But Paul, he deserves everything he's got coming to him. And Paul, I don't know if you remember this, but we were at Gold's Training. I mean, we were like asshole buddies. We used to see each other almost every day. And we're training at Gold's Gym. And he just started getting he was into Kowalski's training. We got him into that down in Boston. And I knew he was going to make it because he had the height, but he could throw a punch and he could sell like a motherfucker and he could work. He was a thinking man's wrestler, really good. And I told him right in the middle of a set, and I don't know if you remember this, Paul, but I remember this word for fucking word. I said, Paul, let me tell you something, my friend. One day, you're going to make more money and we're going to have more laughs than you could ever think of. All you got to do was open up that fucking door. And that door was because he was getting into the NWA down there. He was sending his tapes down. He was tight with Flair because he'd go to the Gold's Gym seminars when Flair was owning some Gold's Gyms. And I was so psyched for him when he got in there. And he did fucking great, even on his first TV, And I just knew the guy was going to go everywhere because he just knew the business. He worked his ass off. And he's got everything coming to him. So he's really just a great fucking guy, too. And what a business mind, too. But he helped my ass out. And, yeah, I just want to connect with him again,
You can't do any better than he's done for himself in wrestling. He's literally done as good as you could do.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think he's one of the best workers in history. And I'm just saying that as his buddy. But
and I'm saying this as a compliment behind the scenes too. He has the name, the game for a reason. He played the political game, which is just, you know all about that, right? And I'm saying it as a compliment. He played it better than anyone's ever played it.
He totally did. And but like in acting and in wrestling, and Vince will tell you this too, forget how you look. Well, body, you got to have a decent body. He had a great fucking body. It's all about the body of your work. The body of your work, not who you know, can you fucking rock and roll? As Gary Hart would say, you know, you got to be able to rock and roll. And I remember he said that when I did a dark match before I went to WCW down in Texas. And they were all watching me because I was a heel, because I came from Stampede. And I wanted to be a heel. I didn't want to be a face because I always knew I was going to be a heel. And I did a match, a dark match at, I think it was a Sportatorium with Cousin Junior. And I just fucking killed him. It was good. It went back and forth too, which is great. So it showed them I could work. And I remember getting out of the greatest thing in the world is getting out of the match, going back to the locker room, and he's coming down the steps. He goes, brother, you can work. You can work. You can rock and roll. And that felt really good coming from Gary Hart, especially after coming from the WWE and, you know, learning about healing in Stampede and then getting the push from Fritz von Erich at the WCCW. And that was a great, great thing. I mean, they gave me the fucking strap. They gave me Percy, who was Paul Bearer later.
Managing you, right?
And we got great TV exposure. It was great. And that's on my YouTube channel too. You got my great match with John Studd on it's Ted Arcidi YouTube. And they got my promos from World Class too, along with my world record list too. But
and your website is I put your website up there too, which I'm sure all your links are probably on arcidifitnessequipment.com.
No, just the best one you could do. Put two on. Put Weightlifters Warehouse.
Okay.
And then the other one, put Ted Arcidi YouTube. Those two are the best. Yeah, okay, the other one's a little diluted. It's an older one.
Yeah. Do you have any stories about Paul Bearer you could share with us?
Yeah. You know, he's a real mortician, right? Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
So he was even before Paul Bearer, he was a mortician. Wow.
Yeah. He was a mortician. I mean, we used to shoot the shit on the road, you know, because you could be like on the road 3-4 hours in Texas either way. You never get to the border. And he just became a fast friend when he became my manager. We used to travel together with Matt Bourne. And he was a real mortician. And he'd tell me about, you know, he loved doing it. It's just some attraction. But he talked about the dark side, especially if they would call him. And this is when he was in, I think, Alabama. Yeah. When they would call him to an accident, especially if there was kids involved, like a dead kid or a baby, you know, in a car accident. He's seen some horrific shit. And he once held the baby and he was holding the baby because the paramedics weren't there yet for some reason. And he could hear the baby just give his last breath, like, and then that was it. So it was really heartfelt, you know. And he told me how he struggled, you know, when he was living with his wife and they were in Florida and that was going pretty good. You know, a lot of the clan from Florida went to WCW, World Class, and he was part of that. And that's where he really got his shine as national prominence, because the guy's a great manager. Him and Gary Hart. I think well, I know Paul Bearer's in the Hall of Fame, but they should make Gary Hart somehow in there too, because he was great, man. I mean, how can you not forget Gary Hart when he's, you know, promoing the shit out of the one-man gang, Kabuki, everybody in the world. You too. You'd watch WWF, and then like in another channel, like an hour and a half later, there's World Class all over. That's why I was so glad when I went down there, we still had like global exposure. So it was phenomenal. It was phenomenal.
How were the Von Erichs to work with?
They were good guys. I mean, I think Fritz is getting a bad rap. He wasn't overbearing. I think these kids, they just had so much freedom that, you know, it's sad. It's an old adage and it's hackneyed and worn out, but they turned to drugs too, you know, because it was out there. I mean, all of a sudden these guys are superstars everywhere they go. And it's just sad. It's just sad. When I went down there, not Mike. It was Mike. He died first. And then who's the other one that kind of was autistic? He was a wrestler.
There was David.
David. It was Mike then. Yeah, David's the first one.
Yeah.
And I still don't know. I don't know if
Chris too. Chris was the small one.
Something. But Mike died of suicide. And then I really befriended the little guy, Chris, because he wanted to get into lifting. And, you know, he was kind of a runt. He didn't have any size. And I remember Fritz called me in the office and says, hey, can you give him a routine? I said, hell yeah. I'll give him a basic routine. He never really stuck with it. And then I was wrestling in Bermuda a couple years after that, and I heard he blew his brains out. It's like, what the hell? So no, but I do not believe that Iron Claw, Fritz, they got that wrong. He was not overbearing at all. Not overbearing at all. He was
And
a
they
good
left
father.
Chris totally out. What did you think that they left Chris, like they pretended like he didn't even exist?
I don't think that's true. The movie portrayed that, Hannibal?
They didn't use Chris in the movie. They there was no Chris. They only had David, Kevin.
They should have put Chris
Carrie,
in there, because even the brothers felt a lot of empathy while they were making it. And this little Chris at home, you know, just couldn't get the size or nothing, and he wanted to be the wrestler in the worst way. So they should have shown some segment or some epitaphs about Chris, because they loved their little brother, you know. They loved him.
They always say Owen Hart didn't want to be a wrestler too. Is that true from and Owen back in the Stampede days?
I don't know that. I think he always wanted to be a wrestler, but I was only there for like a year when I turned heel. And I know this about Owen, and, you know, I love their family. Stu and his wife, they used to have me and the other wrestlers, and I felt like it was an honor, because I'm like with the domain, the kingdom of Canadian wrestling up there in Calgary. Stu Hart with the Dungeon and stuff. They had me over there for Sunday dinner every Sunday. And you're in this big dining room, I guess, Hannibal, and around the whole, it's like a 50 by 50 dining room. There's a big room, and there's like,
I trained there too. I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, 2 feet by 2 feet pictures of every sibling taken at the same age, like they're all 10 or 12 years old. And I thought that was pissing. They thought I was a freak. They love having me there. And I really love being there on Sundays, and with everybody, even the ones that weren't too involved with the wrestling, but a lot of the family was there. Family was very important. And that Sunday meal was very, very important. And I loved Brett, and I feel bad that I guess he had a stroke a while ago. And now there's a guy that could have done well with the movies if he stayed in with the movies, because I thought he was a hell of an actor.
Yeah, he was in that Lonesome Dove. You've been in tons of stuff yourself.
Yeah. I started acting when I got out. I started really acting in '97. I wanted to stay in entertainment, so I wanted to, and I didn't want to just do thug roles. Anyone could be a hard ass and be like a fucking thug. Yeah, there's no fucking acting. I said, I really want to fucking act, like we rock and roll with somebody in a scene and shit like that, and your true personality comes out. So I took acting classes. I took these acting classes, scene study classes in New York and Boston, like every week. I would fly down there, stay a couple days, or in New York or in Boston, and I would do scene studies and all different perceptions of acting and different scenes. And I just overdosed on it because I just immersed myself in it. And I was good at it, good enough to like start going into like acting in small budget films, student films. You don't just start off right away.
Because you've been with Mark Wahlberg, right? You've been with like Robert
yeah.
Wahlberg.
And I worked my way up to that. I got a great part in that movie, The Fighter, and then The Family, and did a few Law and Orders, and most recently I did Ray Donovan, and I had my knees operated on, so I'm getting back into it again. You know, I had
The Town with Ben Affleck too.
Yeah, that was The Town. That was the smaller part there, but that was great to be on, because these movies that we're in, they just get great exposure, man. Really good, especially The Fighter. I mean, that's still like on pay-per-view, like once a week, once every 2 weeks. So I'm getting a royalty check from that.
And Denzel Washington, the Equalizer too. You were in that as well.
Too. Yeah. That's on the website too, I think. If they go to the Ted Arcidi YouTube, and there's a link
by
to
the way,
IMDb, it goes right to my acting reel. When you're in IMDb, you probably know, Hannibal, everyone's got an acting reel, so they just show, which is good for the agents, because they show my best work, and then you get called in for other auditions and stuff. So it's
Yeah,
cool.
that I'm just showing your website now. The
Oh
people
yeah,
can
yeah,
go. They
yeah,
can they
yeah.
can
If you
click
want, if you
there to
get to
go
the
to
way, that's
YouTube.
the one Weightlifter's Warehouse you got. Click it back to my mug there. Go back to the mug, and if you click that, that will go right to YouTube, my YouTube channel, and then from the YouTube you see my Wikipedia. But the YouTube's loaded with shit. It's got some good stuff. I think they just put in a clip. I did a Wendy's commercial back in the day, and they got that up there now. And
Oh, is
my
that this
biggest
one?
commercial I did was a FedEx commercial. It was like a Super Bowl commercial about 10 years ago. And that was the balls. That was so cool. What exposure I got from that. But yeah, I had to, and Triple H will
Oh
tell you
wow.
this too. Paul will tell you this too. You got to work at it. It just doesn't happen. You work at it, you work at it, you work at it. And the more student films and the more low budget films I did, it's just like I'm breathing, I'm talking to you now. That's how I am as an actor,
How many Wendy's triples can you eat?
Oh, fuck. After I fast, because I fast twice a week, 43 hours at a time. Like I just got off a fast. I bet I could probably have 3 with a quart of milk.
Do you really fast? Like, because you hear if some people say it's good, some people say it's bad, but
No,
overall,
it's always good. It's always good. If you're working out and you're eating well, um, fasting is the best thing because it gives your glands a rest. It helps your body recuperate. If you're a lifter and you're training, it helps your body even recuperate more because your body's not burning energy on digestion. Your body burns a lot of energy on digestion, so much so that it doesn't give enough fortitude and emphasis on regeneration of muscle tissue, actin and myosin, muscle fibers. So yeah, but you sleep better, you're quicker. I try to do my auditions now. Like I just had one last week. I'm getting a lot of auditions now, a lot of close calls. I try to do the auditions the day after I fast before I even eat because you're very quick. Your body is engaging. You got high energy level. And I think a lot of actors do that. That's why a lot of actors, I don't know about wrestlers, but a lot of actors do intermittent fasting. And it's really good for you. It's good for your body. I just can't see unless you're diabetic or something, or if somebody's got I don't know, a blood problem or something. Maybe fasting isn't for you. But 99% of the people, anyone that does fasting, they just perform better. They're more energetic and they sleep better, and it just makes sense.
so someone like me, 42, I'm still working out 6 to 7 days a week.
How much do you
How
weigh?
I'm 296.
296. How
Yeah,
tall are you?
6'4".
Oh, that's good. Okay, so you
Yeah,
put together good. Yeah, I
yeah.
would start with this.
I could lose a little bit, but
You
yeah.
will though. You will with the fasting. You're gonna get harder, quicker too. Um, I would start with intermittent fasting because that's what I did. Just eat the big meal of the day. Eat it at like between 9 and 11 in the morning, and that's it. That's it. Do that for a couple months. One meal a day, and your cravings will go away. But alone, just eating one meal a day, which is called truly intermittent fasting, your body's going to respond like a son of a bitch. It's going to be really good. You're going to feel it. And then you go to the next level, like I did, and you say, okay, I will still eat 9 to 11, my big meal of the day. But then after that, pick a day. I'm not going to eat the whole next day until the next day. So 43 hours from that last meal. And then you can eat. And you know something? You don't feel it. You get better. And the cravings don't kill you. And I did that once a week. And I'm thinking, this is the balls. And I even did it on heavy lifting days too. I didn't lose anything. On
So
my
one
running
meal
days,
a
I didn't
day, is
lose
that
anything.
before or after a workout?
Huh?
If you're only gonna eat one meal a day, would that be before or after your workout?
Well, it depends. If you're eating, you should do it after your workout. You don't want it. You don't want the food in your stomach while you're working out. That's not good anyway, because it's just too much energy, too much energy for your body to digest. You want that energy. You want the red blood cells going to the muscle tissue, and you need all the energy. You don't want to be bogged down by digestion, and that's what's going to happen. So eat after. And then, like I said, if you happen when you get to that next stage, and let's say, yeah, in the middle of your 43-hour fast and you have to work out that day, no problem. Because the next day you're going to eat. Or if you have to eat the next day, that day, do your workout first and then you do your binge, you know, like I did today, because I had just fasted 43 hours and I woke up. I had high-end dark chocolate. That's really good for your brain. I had that. That's good for the flavonoids, good for anti-cancer. And then I had like major protein, a pound or 3/4 of a pound of crab meat, a rack of baby back ribs, and some egg salad. And then I could have sweets even after that, because, you know, I'm not really doing any damage. So I had some junk food. I had some brownies and some ice cream and stuff. But I'm full as a bastard. I'm not going to eat now until tomorrow. And then tomorrow is Thursday. That's my full day. Well, I just eat in the morning, and then I don't eat nothing till going through Friday, nothing. And I'm working out Friday. I'm running and I'm lifting weights, not till Saturday morning. So there's another 43 hours, because I do this twice a week. And I love it, man. I mean, think about it. I'm only having like 6 meals a day, 5-6 meals a week. That's it.
And I'm guessing in New Hampshire, you're not talking about that imitation crab meat either. You're probably talking about the real thing. No, this is
the high-end shit from, I get it from Canada. It's really snow crab meat. It's the sweetest. It blows away lobster. It's the sweetest crab meat in the world. They get it up in the Hudson Bay from the cold waters, and I buy it wholesale, and it's delicious. It's so damn good. Highest protein content, more than even lobster. The crab meat's really good. But yeah, I afford it, and I deserve it. I'm world champ.
Definitely. Someone's actually asking what you think about Mark Henry using the name World's Strongest Man.
That's. I mean, shit. Is that the best product they could come up with for World's Strongest Man? I saw one of his matches. I got nothing against the guy, but I saw him up against. I put it on YouTube just for the hell. I just wanted to see how this guy moves and stuff. And I had to go out to have I could have a sandwich by the time he put the Undertaker on the top rope. It took that fucking long, and he's sweating up a storm. And I'm thinking, fucking Vince, is this the best product you got for the World's Strongest Man? Because it sucks. Maybe that's why they had to send him back to school. But then I compare him against my John Studd match. I blow him away. He couldn't move like I did. But I like the kid. The guy's good. He just should have lost some weight, because you can't move and everything looks so laborious, and he's sweating his ass off. I mean, you tell me, Hannibal.
They put him with Tony Atlas for a while because Tony tried to keep him in line in the gym so he wouldn't get too out of shape from what Tony told me.
So he had a problem eating? Is that what you're saying?
Tony just said he needed to be kind of kept in line, so they put Tony as his manager for a few years to make sure that that I guess he would stay on the right track with eating and stuff.
That's too bad. Yeah.
Did you know Tony at all?
Yeah, Tony's a good shit. I wish he didn't miss all those shots. We would have had a better angle together, because he did miss some shots when we were working an angle together. The guy, I don't know, he just maybe
he had a drug problem for a few years.
What? I'm sorry, what?
For a few years he had a drug problem, which he admits to now. So
yeah,
it may have been
yeah. He's a good shit. He looks fucking good these days, though. He looks really good. I gotta hand it to him. But yeah, Mark, you know, I always feel it always goes back to this, Hannibal. I thank Vince McMahon the best. And when they rag on him for like sexual harassment or this or that, that's bullshit. That's just jealousy. He's not a fucking kindergarten teacher. He's not a therapist. He's not our father. We're adults. And if we fuck up with drugs, that's our fault. Don't blame Vince. And these people that are in the gutter after taking drugs and stuff, they're out of the WWF and they're trying to say they get PSD or fucking shoulder problems or they can't move and stuff, and they want to sue Vince. I think that's total bullshit. And I'll come to Vince's aid right away. He put these guys on the map. He put me on the map. I mean, think about it. After setting the world record, a year after that, I mean, talk about a quick fucking intro. I was at wrestling camp for maybe 4 or 5 months, and he put me in there right away. And I was in WrestleMania 2. I was in a main event with John Studd. Had the wrestling doll. prime time movie. I mean, wrestling, and I just got so much exposure from the guy. He gave me the chance, and I'm so glad I delivered. I will always thank Vince, because these other assholes, if they bitch and moan about Vince, they have to stop and realize if Vince didn't give them a call, if they didn't go to the WWE, they'd be fucking gym rats, man. They wouldn't have nothing. So who were they to fucking blame Vince? That pisses me off. And I said that indirectly to Paul too once on a tape. I said, Paul, you tell Vince, I owe him my thanks. So also Fritz von Erich, man. He wanted to see you could work, and he pushed you. He gave me Percy. He gave me the belt, the strap down there. I became a better heel. And then, it's all about opportunity. I think it's kind of, I don't know. What do you think, Hannibal? It's almost like an elitist view, like a entitlement. Some of these guys, they let their gimmick get to their head, kind of like the Ultimate Warrior. He was cool with me down in World Class, but I guess he turned into kind of arrogant up there because he believed in his gimmick.
How was your time with him in World Class?
It was good. It was kind of short. He's down there for about three months before he went to New York. And we had some decent matches at the Cotton Bowl in Texas, and all power moves and stuff. So it was good. It was a good draw. We had a lot of people because they wanted to see two big guys beat the shit out of each other. And that's what they like. Vince always told me that too. He says, Ted, you got your high flyers, you got your technical wrestlers. And this is what he told me before I went on that angle with John Studd. He says, but everybody, mark my words, everybody wants to see two big fucking guys, the world's strongest man and the world's biggest wrestler, i.e. John Studd, going at it and just beating the fuck out of each other outside the ring. And he was right. We brought the fucking house down. It was sold out at the Boston Garden. And who was I to have a main event? But he gave me a main event after 3 months being in the fucking business.
Ryan's asking here, was there some type of shoot with you and John Studd? Are the rumors true?
No. But, I'm glad Ryan said that because it's believable, because he claimed to have set the world record in the bench at before I got there, or maybe even when I got there. And so that was controversy. And I think that was the mastermind of Vince, getting us geared up with the two best benchers in the whole world. So that's a mastermind. That was a key move by Vince, and the people ate it up. And I did a tour with Studd in Morocco and everybody down in Florida. And I work out with these guys. They're just good guys. They treated me cool, and they knew I was up right away, right from setting the world record. And that quick stint in Orange, Connecticut at that wrestling camp with Tony Altamori. So they were kind of like, wow, this guy's really fucking huge. And we worked out together, and they helped me with the matches too. They gave me some psychology, and it worked. It worked. Culminating up to that John Studd match. I was so psyched that I didn't think Vince would want to do it, but he put me on the main event with Studd, and we sold out the Boston Garden. It was unbelievable. When I lifted him up, because he had that thing with the $15,000 if you could slam him, I picked him up like fucking butter cakes. I could feel the whole fucking crowd. It was like Mount Vesuvius. The whole world was shaking. And I remember him telling me in the locker room, don't fucking slam me, because that's his gimmick, And he grabbed the ropes and shit, and then we just went back and forth. And then we took it outside the ring. But that was a great moment, man. That was a great moment. And especially when you got people like Gorilla Monsoon and Lord Alfred Hayes, they were like narrating the thing too. So they put us both over. But
was Bobby Heenan managing him for that one?
He wasn't there that day.
Okay. Yeah, they didn't bring them to the house shows all the time, did they?
Yeah, Heenan was great. I wish I got closer with him. I'll tell you, that guy can work. For two people, and I'm mentioning also Adrian Adonis, those two guys, they might not have had bodies, but they had the gift of fucking gab. They could rap on the fucking mic, and that's what counts. And when they're in the ring taking fucking bumps, they look like toys going around. You can just give them a fucking slam off the ropes. They do fucking pirouettes and go out of the ring like two fucking rows into the crowd. It was amazing. You've seen Adonis do that, right?
Yeah,
It's
the
amazing.
flip.
It's amazing. The ability they had for that, selling and getting the crowd's heat. That was beautiful. That's like acting. I mean, it's fucking beautiful. Talk about psychology. Those guys had it done. I wish they were still around too. Yeah, because Adonis got killed when I left Stampede. He got killed in a car crash.
Yeah,
with a couple midgets, right?
in Newfoundland.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Was he doing a shot out there?
Yeah, it's too bad. I think the drugs got to him, and he lost his job and everything, and was reduced to wrestling up there.
Hannibal. Here's a note about Adonis. We're shooting the shit in the locker room, and he's from Buffalo. I was born in Buffalo. Did you know he played junior A hockey in Buffalo?
No,
he
I
was
didn't.
going to play pros. He was that fucking good. He played junior A hockey in a Buffalo team that was going through Canada and everything else. And he was right up there. He would have been drafted if he didn't get into the fucking wrestling. He was really fucking good. So we talked hockey too, because I played hockey. I thought I was going to be a pro hockey player until I started lifting weights. And I was killing people in the corners and in front of the net. And I basically was told, you're going to have to lose some weight now. You got to be easier on the guys because you're going to kill everybody. And then I saw a poster. There was like a handout, an advertisement for what they call a bench press meet. And I said, what the fuck is a bench press meet? We do them down here we bench here all the time. It was a meet, like a power meet, but you get 3 attempts and there's weight classes. And then if you win, you get a fucking trophy and you get a write-up and shit. I got second place my first time I had a write-up, and I was second in New England. And I remember this match, this bench meet. I did 440, weighing 220. So I was still putting on weight. And I was second best in New England. And it's like all of a sudden I'm getting interviewed by these papers and stuff. And I said, fuck hockey. This is a way to go, man. You're getting a build and you're lifting and you're strong as a fuck. And I knew I had more in because I was just, of course, I was off the juice. And then the next year I did 520.
How often would you bench in those days?
I won the collegiates, and then I got invited to from the muscle magazines to the Hawaiian International Powerlifting Championships for 3 years in a row. That culminated to the 705 world record. And then I got drafted with Vince. I would have gone with Ted Turner, but he was too late. And to be truthful with you, Hannibal, at the time, Vince was more global, I think, than Ted Turner, don't you think?
Yeah, and they didn't make stars as well because Kazmaier went with Turner, and he didn't do quite as well as you.
And I love Bill, but we tried to get an angle together in Stampede, and it just didn't work. He just didn't want to sell. He had this thing in his head, I'm the world's strongest man. He wouldn't sell. And it sucked because if you don't sell and you get that ego, no one's going to buy it, And they even gave him a big push down there, but he couldn't fucking really throw a punch, and he couldn't move that fast. I mean,
what's he up to these days? I
think he should have stayed in there longer, but I don't know. He got disenchanted because he didn't want to put the work in. You got to put the work in,
Didn't he have like a lot of heat in the Stampede dressing room, and they were ribbing him and stuff?
How did you know that? From Mock and Sing? From Shaw, right?
Bruce Hart told me.
Shaw?
Bruce Hart told me that he was getting heat. Brian Pillman and all them.
Yeah, no shit. You had Bruce on. Yeah, Bruce was like the agent for the Stampede, and he was in there. And I think the science behind Bruce was he was trying to knock Bill down just so he'd be one of the boys. Forget this ego. But Bill used to go in the locker room with this big ego, and he would talk a good game, but, you get him out there, he just wouldn't fucking sell really, and he couldn't move that good. I thought he would move good because he lost a lot of weight, but he didn't put enough time into it, man. I mean, I think what he should have done was stayed up there longer or gone to another federation, whether it's Kansas City or Memphis or something, like I did with World Class. And that's where you even get better, because you're working every fucking night.
Mitch Seinfeld, I don't know if you remember him, but he says
he was like the youngest promoter, wasn't he?
He was. He wrestled for him in '87 in Brooklyn, he says.
Good guy. Is he on there now?
Yeah.
Mitch, how you doing, man? I remember you, Mitch. Youngest fucking promoter. I love that. And I remember Mitch telling me this. What a memory. He would set up between Brody and Abdullah, and they tried to fuck him, the poor kid. They tried to fuck him, take the money and not show up. That happened a few times, right, Mitch? I remember that you were bitching about that. And here you are trying to carve out a reputation as a promoter, and you would set up house shows. You did a lot of work. You had a good business mind. And these motherfuckers, they tried to fuck you over. But hey, I'm glad you're here, man. I'm glad you're doing. What are you doing now, Mitch? Ask him what he's doing.
I'll Mitch, let us know what you're doing now. I think he sells. He goes around to Costco's and stuff and sells this gadget for cutting things up.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah.
I'd always knew he's going to stay in business because he had the mind
Yeah.
back then. It's nice
yeah.
to hear you, Mitch. You're a good guy. Good guy, man. I remember those house shows. Son of a bitch.
Do you have any memories about Haku, who's become like legendary now as the greatest
Haku
fighter?
was great. We always got along. And there's a guy you don't want to fuck with. And I'll tell you this one thing. Haku was supposed to do a job for Jake the Snake when he first went in. And I remember he said, fuck you, Jake. You're not going to put that snake on me. And he was serious. He looked right at Jake and he said, no fucking snake. I don't want that fucking snake on me. And Jake didn't do the snake or nothing. It was an easy fucking like a count out, obviously, or something. But he was a great wrestler, a real good heart, a true Samoan like the other boys out there. And he was on tour with me also in Australia. Haku's a good guy. And his kid played football, too, when I talked to him at a signing about 10 years ago.
His kids are all in WWE now. I don't know if you know that. They're all in WWE. No, his kids, they all are wrestlers in WWE now.
No shit.
Yeah,
well,
they're doing well for themselves. And
by
by the way, Mitch says he's still a pitch man.
I love it. It's in your blood, right, Mitch?
and someone else wanted to know about Andre the Giant, if you have any stories about him. And
Nah, he kind of kept to himself, but I did feel that sometimes I've heard him just talk to belligerent to people. Like he wanted people to get me some ice, get me this, get me that. He wasn't nice. Maybe his back. I know his back was in great, great pain. And a good friend of mine who passed also, Tim White, thank God he was taking care of Andre. So I can't even perceive and imagine how much pain he was in his back, because you could tell he was in back pain when they had him in '87 at the Silverdome, the Pontiac Silverdome. And yet he still came through for Vince and everybody else. So I got nothing but kudos on him. And then after WrestleMania 2, after the Battle Royal, he went around, because he won that, and he went around, he shook everyone's hand. So no, he's a true gentleman. And I don't think people have the conception of how much pain that man was in from that growth deficiency. I don't want to call it deficiency, but the pituitary gland was just still working, and it would impinge, the bones would impinge on his spinal cord, and you could just see it. He had to be sitting down a lot. So I'm sure his last few years weren't that comfortable, according to Tim too, but yeah.
Yeah, Tim, I think we may have lost Ted for a second. And there's a couple more fan questions I will get to. Hopefully Ted gets back on. One of the nicest wrestlers, but I think he may have accidentally shut his camera. He'll be back, folks. The original interview I did with Ted, that link is in the description as well. And May the 3rd, he's doing a signing at his gym. I think he might be coming back now. arcidifitnessequipment.com. I do remember he donated a couple very large amounts of money to superstar Billy Graham when Billy Graham was on death's door there. So he's definitely a really nice guy. By the way, Valerie Coleman, Billy Graham's wife, is very upset with Dark Side of the Ring. She's did not like how they portrayed him. Ted, I think you got to log out and log back in if you can still hear me. A family friend contacted me today and told me that Valerie's pretty upset. I'm gonna message Ted right now, see if we can get back on. Hold on, sorry guys. This happens when you're live. Oh, here he's back.
Perfect.
He's back.
Thank you. You know what sucks is I got the phone, and when some bastard calls, it cuts everything else out. How about
Oh,
now? We're good?
yeah, we're good.
Cool. You were
Yeah,
saying you got
just.
some bad news today, Hannibal? What's up, man? I saw you talking.
Oh no, I was just saying that I guess they did a Dark Side of the Ring on Billy Graham. I don't know if you've seen that Dark Side of the Ring
No,
series,
I didn't see that
and
one good, but I've been watching it. I think it's very interesting. I think that's a great gimmick, and it's a
yeah,
true gimmick. But what's his face? What the hell's that wrestler? He's behind the whole thing. He does all the production and everything else.
I think the
Yeah,
Rock's
but there's
company.
another one too that played the guitar. Jacoby, what the hell's
Oh,
his
Chris
name?
Jericho.
Jericho. Yeah,
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 well,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
apparently Billy Graham's wife. I didn't see it, but they did one on him last night, and she contacted me this morning saying she's very upset with how he was portrayed. Hey, another guy they're doing a Dark Side of the Ring on is Billy Jack Haynes. Did you hear
Wow.
about
Now, what's
everything?
so dark about him? He seemed like a decent guy.
Oh, you don't know that he killed his wife recently?
No.
I guess he's in jail. He's going to be in
Are you
jail for the.
shitting me?
No,
Oh,
I'm
what
not.
the fuck?
Yeah.
Wow, man, I'm being stunned in my fucking chair right here. He killed his old lady. Any reason why? Was she fucking around?
His reasoning is, in his mind, she was having Alzheimer's and she would have wanted to die, but uh, he's getting another call. He'll be back, guys. I guess he's
Hang on.
using. Yeah. Okay.
Okay, now you're there again, right?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just keep doing this. I hope you don't mind.
No, he thought it was a mercy killing. That's going to be his defense. But the problem was she didn't say it on record or anything. So,
Oh, yeah, like
and the
they're gonna
family's
want
denying that.
evidence leading so that it was a legitimate, authorized, consensuary death. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
The
Wow, that
interesting thing
sucks.
is, he called me 45 minutes before he killed her. But sadly, I did not answer the phone.
What do you think he
And
wanted? To do a
I don't
fucking
know.
podcast?
I really don't know. Because he would always call me and
Shoot the shit with you?
yeah. And
Wow.
I just
That's
would,
pretty good, Hannibal. You turned out to be a good friend with the workers, man.
I just wish I could have answered. And I wonder if like he was going through some type of panic attack or something and just needed someone to talk to. But yeah,
Did
that
you ever see him doing signings recently in the last 2 years at all?
well, he's been in jail the last 2 years, but I've known him. I've known him for about 5 years before he was in jail.
Yeah, yeah.
He was all right, but he definitely had concussion issues.
Now, what's that from? Wrestling or from football and shit
I
when he
think
played?
boxing.
He was into boxing.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
did he not portray the really Billy Jack Haynes from the movie? I loved it. That
yeah,
was a great fucking gimmick he had, man. He played
yeah,
that calm, cool, collected, but don't fuck with me look, just like Billy Jack in the movie. He really looked like the fucking character. Yeah.
yeah. He's not someone you would have wanted to fuck with back in those days.
I don't think so. You know who was another guy like you didn't want it, you didn't think, but I'm finding out he was a tough fuck. Was B. Brian Blair. We
Oh
just had
yeah,
a
he beat
signing
up.
together in Jersey. I didn't realize this, but he went fucking knock down, drag out with Matt Bourne. And Matt was going to bite his nose, and he bit his lip off first. It was fucking insane. The first time I heard of it, and Flair saw the whole thing. Flair said that was the best barroom fight he's ever seen.
Wow, because
Yeah,
Matt
Matt
Bourne
Bourne
was
and,
pretty
and B.
crazy, wasn't
Blair,
he?
Brian Blair. Yeah.
Did you know Matt Bourne at all, or?
Yeah, I knew Matt. And you know something? Matt was pretty smart. He was kind of intelligent. He went University of Portland or Portland State. He did the shot put. He was really good. Like he was like top 10 NCAA in the East and the West Coast. Of course, Tony Bourne, his dad, was a wrestler. And but I used to talk with him. It'd be like Jekyll and Hyde. Like we could talk and he'd throw some pretty intellectual lines out there. But then if you get him in the coke and stuff, he just want to rumble. He was angry. He was angry, like, yeah. And I guess he got pissed because he started missing shots when he was Doink. I thought Doink was a great gimmick for him. But because you lose shots, like Tony Atlas, Vince don't want that. And he got replaced by another Doink. So ever since then, had this animosity against Vince. But he brought it upon himself because he did the drugs, you know.
People say Rick Rude was really tough too. Did you know him at all?
No, I knew him a little, but he had left when I had gotten down there, right about the time. But yeah, he was in Paul Bearer's stable down there, Percy Pringle's stable. And I remember, this is what I heard, and I heard this from Percy, that he went to one of those, he was a bouncer in the same town as the Road Warriors were, at some place, Beefcake Mamas or some place I think in Grovinsdale, Illinois, where they all grew up, Robbinsdale, Illinois. And he had just gotten out of the Navy or something, but he was ripped. He was always ripped. And he had a fight with some guy. He knocked him out with one slap. Did you ever hear that one?
I heard he was known for slapping people and knocking them out. So.
Yeah.
Apparently, the rumor is Hogan didn't want to work with him because he was too stiff. I don't know if it's true or not.
Yeah, but you know something? They could rank on people like him, and they ranked heavily on Hellwig, the Warrior, and even the Road Warriors, because they were stiff, but too fucking bad. You know, they sold the places. You know. They made money for the promoters. So there's that jealousy about the stiffness and stuff. They said I was stiff a lot. Well, yeah, no shit. I was in there after 5 months of fucking training. What do you expect? And I got better and better and better. But you have to still be a little stiff as a muscle guy, or else it looks phony, or else it looks fucking phony. And they could rank and piss on these guys, usually the wrestlers that never lifted weights. I don't know about Hogan. Hogan, he looked great all the time, but they should have learned to suck it up more, because I don't care what they say. The Road Warriors and Hellwig, they always made them money. They were always a draw. And that's what counts. That's the bottom fucking line. Yeah, they were stiff, but, you know, I'd rather have someone stiff that looks the fucking part than someone who's really muscular but can't fucking do anything. It looks like shit. I'd rather have the opposite. Any promoter will tell you that too.
I agree. And how was Hulk Hogan in the back? Was he
was
nice
a good guy. Always, yeah. He knew someday I was going to work with him, so he was always just shooting the shit. You know, it's funny when you ask about these people, even Ray Hernandez, all these guys. We'd all end up in the town we're going to work that night. And I remember I surmised once in the gym, we're all in there working out. And I'm thinking, you know something? If it wasn't for Vince, we'd all be just a bunch of fucking gym rats. It's the truth. It's the truth. Because they all love working out, you know, the ones that really had the gimmicks for the body, you know. And we'd all be in the same gyms, helping each other, spotting each other and shit. And that was pretty cool.
Were you surprised Hogan never wrestled you? Because you would have been a good opponent for him.
Yeah, I think I would have been. I think what Vince had in mind, I was going to come back heel and wrestle against Hogan, but it never happened because Patera was having such a good run, and I didn't want to wait too long down in World Class. I get into the vitamin line, the Muscle and Fitness. I had my own vitamin, amino acid line, protein line, and I was getting in GNCs and everything. So I was doing tours, lifting to stay in the stores, and I was in like a lot of stores and retail, health food stores and stuff. I was making as much money as like the top 10 wrestlers in the WWE. So, you know, that's okay. That's okay, because I didn't want to keep waiting down in World Class. Yeah. So that's kind of how my career ended, you know. But it moved on to better things, you know. It moved on to good things. I don't regret it at all.
Your promos were great in World Class. I
Aren't
saw
they
some of
awesome?
them. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. People should go look those up because you really, from WWE to World Class,
Oh, it's a
your promo
difference. You can see
skills
the
is.
confidence in me, a heel. It was the balls. Yeah, I loved it. But I remember Vince telling me, he says, Ted, you got to learn as a face first. And even Atlas said that too. You got to start it as a face because if you don't start it as a face, you don't understand the psychology and the premonition of the next move and the painting of the story. You have to start out as a face, and it makes so much sense because that's the foundation, man. That's the fucking foundation.
Sean's wondering if you ever wrestled in Peoria, Illinois, and any memories of that town.
I did a seminar right after I set the world record in Peoria, Illinois. What's his name?
Sean.
Sean or John?
Sean.
Sean.
Sean
I don't know
Moody.
if you remember this, but in 1985, after I came back from Hawaii International Powerlifting Championships, I did a Peoria was celebrating, I think, their 200th year or 150th year celebration of the city's origin. And they had me do a bench press exhibition. I did like 10 reps with 500 pounds. I could do that like sleepwalking. It was great, though. They treated me like royalty. I wonder if you were there, Sean. Were you there? Did you hear about it? I mean, how old were you then? That was 85.
Yeah, if he says anything, I'll let you know. But as far as your acting career, I was just looking at on Wikipedia all of your
Yeah.
acting jobs. Like it's incredible, everyone you've worked with. Who were some of the coolest celebrities you've met in acting?
Yeah. Well, have to say tops is Wahlberg, De Niro, and then I was on the set with on the Ray Donovan with the director there because I was playing a guy when Ray Donovan was a younger guy, and I was selling baseball and sports paraphernalia. A guy from Boston, so it was a great fucking casting thing they did, and that was a great series that I was in. I had that, so working with the director with that. But as far as actors, I'd say Wahlberg, Christian Bale, Melissa Leo. I mean that those scenes in the fight they were fucking great, and it was easy, man, because I had done so much preparation. I didn't just jump. I didn't just say this Ted. He's in the fight, and now he's acting. They don't understand the 50 some odd movies I did that were like low budget that never made anywhere, student films that never made anywhere, and then you just use that to learn. But yeah, I would say Melissa Leo, Donnie Wahlberg also was good in. We had some good times in Blue Bloods. That was cool. And then of course Mark, Christian Bale, and then De Niro, and then some guys from The Sopranos. Big Pussy. He was. We lived in we lived in France for a month filming that thing. The movie called The Family, and I was part of the hit squad that was going after De Niro as a hitman, and that was a great fucking movie. That turned out to be great. I had some good. I was in there like a lot. It was very very good supporting role.
How was the
And
food over there in France?
oh, it was great. It was great. And you know something? The people are great. I mean, they knew we were out there making the food and making the movie. But little side note, we were staying, and the director is a world famous director, Luc Besson. We were staying at he actually owned like a chateau, like a castle, I guess, because there's a lot of those there. And he had bought it up. And I stayed in one of his stone houses, like he had for the actors, all these different suites. And then he had what they call the restaurant in the middle of the compound. You got to picture this, Hannibal. It's like a little kingdom. It's like something out of the French feudal system. He owned it, 600 acres. People get humped there. He rode his ATVs there. They had a great gym there, and that's where the actors were. I'm down the street, down like 50 yards away. De Niro's living in there, and Michelle Pfeiffer's like down the thing. So we just got to know each other because every day we'd be working, and that was a great experience. But we went to Normandy because that wasn't that far away, and we had to go back there twice. Me, Anthony Desio, Mark Bulger, Big Pussy, okay, Vincent Pastore, and then there was another one, Anthony Mangione. We went down to Normandy, and that's where we became a nation, and that's where that big battle was. I mean, the invasion. We had to go back there twice. No shit, because we're going there. There's so much to see from the cliffs where the Rangers, our Rangers, U.S. Rangers, were climbing up on the side and getting nailed like ducks from the pillboxes from the Germans, but they just keep coming and coming and coming, eventually till they took them out. It's just like Private Ryan. That's probably the best depiction that I could see of an invasion of Normandy, right there. And then we went to the graveyard, the cemetery, all these crosses, and you can't help but get emotional there, because it's like they show it right on there. All the people that died that day, a lot of kids. I mean, these guys were like 16, 17, 18 years old because they lied about their age. And a lot of the French too, you know. And I remember I was with my buddies and walking in the field. And I go, God, do you feel that? Like, did you just feel that? Like it was like your heart sunk, but it's like very peaceful and very solemn. Nothing evil. Nothing angry, just a very holy, solemn place. I just felt that, and they felt it too. And we said our prayers and we just walked around. But yeah, that's hallowed ground, man. That must be like Gettysburg. I'd love to go to Gettysburg. You probably get the same feeling there. 50,000 fucking guys died there. You know.
Yeah, they say Gettysburg is very haunted.
Yeah,
apparently.
I'm into that too. Like it's like the spirits that can't cross over, but sometimes they see troops in the middle of the night in formation, in Gettysburg, and you just can't quite get to them because they're always like another 50, 100 yards ahead, but it's like, almost like time warps, right? And I'm sure that happens over there in Normandy, but yeah, we had to go back there twice just for the reverence of paying homage to these great men that died there. I mean, that's, you got to go there once in your life. And I was so lucky because we're out there for a whole month filming. So that was unbelievable. That was right around the time we came back. And that's when Sandy hit. And that was fucked up. A lot of my friends down in Long Island, they lost their places, from that fucking, that hurricane, flooding and everything. But no, that was a great, great time. Good payday too. I mean, a month of acting, can't beat that. SAG wages.
And you get residuals, I guess, too, from all these jobs.
Yeah, I get residuals for everything. I mean, not as much now because the time has passed, but they re-up them again. So it's good. It gets your name out. Then I just had my knees replaced about a year and a half ago because I was almost like a cripple. I couldn't move around. So I'm just getting back into the auditioning again now and the casting in LA and New York now. Feels good to be back. But I'll tell you, it's amazing. I'm so glad I had the physical therapy. I got the equipment here with my store, and I was like an animal after I had my knee replacements. I said, I ain't going to get frozen knee. If you don't do enough working out, open and closing of the joint, flexion and extension, your joint will freeze.
Yeah.
Will freeze up because your body rejects it. I said, no fucking way. I ain't never going back. And I just worked my ass off. And I'm running a mile now in like 12 minutes, which is good for me because I'm 245.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Eric's wondering your thoughts on these new bench shirts at powerlifters like Jimmy.
Yeah, I think it's a crime. If someone's saying they got the raw world record, it's got to be without the bench shirt. It's got to be without the elbow wraps and without the wrist wraps. And I'm the only one that still has the real raw world record in the 275-pound weight class, which I did 650 in 1983. And also in 1984, I did 667. That's probably on the YouTube channel too. And I did it 3 reps. The first 2, I went up all the way, but I went up uneven extension. And then they granted me a 3rd attempt. Again, no wrist wraps, no elbow wraps, no bench shirt. And I smoked up the 666, the last one. But yeah, I think it's wrong. I wore what they tried to call it a bench shirt, but if you look at the tapes on YouTube, when I set the 705, first man to bench 700, everyone's saying that doesn't even look equipped. My arms aren't out like this. I mean, literally in those equipped shirts, you're frozen like this. You need like 800 pounds to bring it down to your chest. It's just the cheating most fucking thing. My shirt was equivalent to like an Under Armour shirt. It just kept my shoulders warm. So a lot of people consider that raw that I did, because I didn't have any wrist wraps or elbow wraps on that, and just that flimsy shirt. And also the big thing is the raw, the completely raw. I call it completely raw because you might get some guy that says, yeah, but this guy did raw 740 pounds. And then I ask him, I go, did he have elbow wraps? They say no. Did he have a bench shirt? No. I go, did he have wrist wraps? And they say, yeah. Wrist wraps, they add 10% to your bench. So, I mean, I blow these guys away still 35, 40 years after. So fuck them. No, but I'm saying the bench shirt is not it should be outlawed because it's not a true test of strength. People want to know what you could do in the bench, just like the old days. What can you do on the bench without wrist wraps, without elbow wraps, without those ridiculous bench shirts? And that's your true strength. I think the general populace would agree, and they would probably appreciate it more. That's why the sport's not even on TV anymore, because there are so many aids that the general populace, and you look at it from their point of view, they're watching it. Okay, what's that thing he's wearing? Why is his arm straight out, locked out like that? And he's doing a bench press. Is that really him? You know? So when you have questions like that, it just kills the sport. What's the kid's name again? Eric?
Yeah.
Yeah. So Eric, that's my feeling, you know?
What do you think about wrist straps for deadlifting or shrugs?
If you're doing it for training, the deadlift straps, do it. But don't go for a world record. It's got to be your own wrist power holding it. Okay. Yeah. If you're doing working out, shrugs and partial deadlifts and full deadlifts, and you're going for reps, do it. Do it for your training. But if you're going for a world record, you know, you should have just nothing, just chalk in your hand, no wrist wraps. Of course, you don't need elbow wraps. And that's it, man. And a belt. That's it, a belt. Everyone needs a belt. But,
someone's asking here, what's your worst injury from weightlifting and wrestling?
Good call. I used to do a lot of behind the neck press back then. And I would find out that sometimes if I was working too much wrestling and press slamming guys and doing behind the neck press once a week, and I'd go heavy. I'd go like, 335 to 350. I had the world record at still have it. I don't think anyone's done it. Standing behind the neck press, 375 for 5. Standing strict behind the neck press. No one's ever done that because they do them sitting down and they do even less. But I would get a lot of shoulder inflammation. So I was smart about it. As soon as I got that, I'd throw the ice on like 2-3 times a night and it would go away. But if I had the inflammation and I didn't do anything about it, I would have popped a tendon easy. I would have popped a muscle easy because it's such a peculiar position, press slamming somebody over your head, and then you're doing behind the neck press. That's a lot of stress on your rotary cuff. So I was really good about that. Betrayed
by Sin is wondering any memories of Roddy Piper. You had that famous Piper's Pit.
Yeah. People talk about that. Just for the record, I was not coked out, okay? As everyone knows, the TV tapings were held in Poughkeepsie in 2 hockey rinks, okay? And I was up in Piper's Pit. Last second, they told me, you got to go to Piper's Pit. I'm thinking, okay. And I don't know if it was a rib for the guys, but nobody ever told me it was in the other hockey rink. So I literally had to run 2 hockey rink lengths to get there. Right when they said, okay, we got Ted Arcidi, the world's strongest man. And I'm out of fucking breath and everything. What I should have done was just said, fuck it, I'm going to miss it. Because nobody told me where to go. And that's why I'm like seem out of breath and stuff. But it was good doing that thing with him because he always gave me good play. Piper, man. It's sad that he left, 10 years ago now?
Yeah. About 10 years ago.
Man. What a great worker. And God, can he rap on that mic. He was just, that guy knew so much about the psychology. And he could put you over too, because he'd even put me over in a way that made him look good and made me look good. It was great. But the feuds he had with Snooker and Hogan, I mean, beautiful, beautiful stuff. I don't think the wrestling is like that anymore, is it?
No, it's not as memorable. The feuds aren't as memorable for sure. Um,
Hmm.
Rick Howard wants to know if you have any memories of Hercules, another guy. I don't think he made it out of his 40s.
Yeah. Um, yeah, on the road, he was missing shots, but I worked out with him. Good guy, out of Florida. And he was in the Air Force too, I found out. And he married his high school sweetheart. They had a bunch of kids. And I don't know what happened. I know he was being pushed. He was in one of the main events with Hogan. Man, can he throw a punch? He throw a punch, he can decapitate you the way he threw it. It was phenomenal. He could work like a bastard, but then he started missing shots. Or I don't know. What's the story with him? How did he end up kind of falling from grace out of Vince's sights, Hannibal?
According to Brutus Beefcake, opiates. That's what Brutus told me. He had an opiate addiction.
Wow,
And stuff.
opiates between him and Mr. Perfect, huh?
And I'm not. Luckily for me, I'm not even that familiar with what they are. Other than I think kratom is an opiate. Have you heard of this kratom stuff that everybody's taking these
No, but
days?
I thought everybody was on Xanax back then and Coke, and that fucks you up. They had the drug to get you up, and they had the drug to put you to sleep. But as I said earlier in the show, you take the Xanax, yeah, it puts you out, but you don't get the deep REM sleep, so your heart doesn't get that regenerative rest it needs, and you get scar tissue. Your heart can't take it after a while. And I think that's how that Spanish wrestler died there in the locker room recently, about 10, 15 years ago. What the hell's his name? He had the belt. Guerrero. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he just died, you know. He died.
he was addicted to pain kills, right?
Yeah,
Pills, I
but the
believe.
painkillers, they would mask those also. They take the Xanax because they wanted to go to sleep. And you can't let a tablet make you go to sleep. It's a time bomb. Your heart is not getting that rest. So you end up getting a heart attack. You end up getting a heart attack, man. And that's how he died. He died like just walking out of the bathroom, you know?
This is a good question. Was there any other wrestlers that were close to as strong as you in the 80s?
The closest ones were the road where was Animal. He did a legit 620, I think, but that was the closest. But then again, I was a professional. You know, I ate, drank, and slept the shit. But yeah, as far as him getting a bench while he's working, he did a legit 620. He was a powerhouse, Jimmy. And I didn't realize this, but I was told he was very athletic in high school. He was a diver. He was like an Olympic diver. He had really good flexibility and stuff. I didn't realize that. Yeah, Jimmy Laurinaitis. And then his kid became a pro ball player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But he had the best bench.
Yeah,
I
his
guess
kid
Scott
had a
Norton-
good career, I believe. He's retired now, but yeah.
Scott Norton, he had a great bench, but I don't think anyone was doing 7. Not with without wrist wraps and elbow wraps and a bench shirt. They weren't doing that like me. So
Scott told me his shoulders are shot now from all
well,
that pressing.
I understand. I feel for him. He should try to get the shoulders replaced, and it makes all the difference in the world. I wouldn't be able to bench anything. I'm repping now. I had the shoulders replaced a year ago, and I'm repping like I could do reps of 200 pounds, which is good for me, you know. But yeah, my recommendation is that the shoulders start to hurt and the cortisone shots don't work. Same thing goes for the knees and the hip. Get the replacements. The replacements today, the prosthetics, they're made so well. You don't have to take them and then you replace them again in 20 years. These things last for fucking ever. And they tell you can run on these things now, as long as it's on dirt or like a turf, you know. But I'd say get the thing replaced. Go through the hell of the first 4 months, but you're not going to have any pain and you look like a human being again. Because there's nothing worse than seeing someone who was a good lifter. And a lot of wrestlers are like this too. They just don't want to get this. They don't want to go under the knife. And you can't blame them. they used to have great shoulders because wrestlers would have great square. We call them Roman shoulders, so they could press people. When they lose that ability, the first thing that goes down is their shoulders, and it's demoralizing. So all they can do is curls and pull ups, stuff with their lats, and you can tell because they got like the rolled over look. Their delts look good and everything, but their shoulders are skinny. And I say when it gets like that, get the replacements, man. Especially today, it's definitely worth it. How old's Scotty now, Hannibal?
I'll look it up, but while I'm looking,
like 60, right?
He's got to be in his 60s.
Scotty, if you hear me, get your
63. 63.
Yeah, and tell him this too if you see him, Hannibal. Tell him the type of surgery I had. It's different than the prosthetic they put in for like older guys that just, they do household work and shit like that. This is for people who still want to train. The procedure's called a run and ream. That's all he needs to know. Look it up. It's the best way. You can still, they put in the stem and the shoulder ball, and they line it up, and they hollow out a little of your scapula. So it rides in there too. And that is awesome. It allows you to still work out as much as you want. Nothing's going to break. Run and ream. It's for active people. It's for athletes. Run and ream. Anybody out there that's listening to this, that's the best shoulder replacement technique.
Good to know. Matt is wondering about the big events where you fought Tony Gurria in Toronto.
I was supposed to wrestle Atlas. He fucking never showed up. That was fun because I was turning heel then. That was a big-ass crowd, too. That was a real big-ass crowd.
That was the record wrestling crowd to that point in time, I believe. 66.
Yeah, before the Pontiac Silverdome, which I guess they just tore down, right? The Silverdome.
Yeah, they just blew it up, yeah.
Yeah.
A couple people on here wondering, how would you rate Dino Bravo's strength? Did you ever see him in the gym?
Not that good. Not that good. I think the best bench he got, because they tried to gimmick it. And, even as God has it planned, even with the gimmick weights, he failed. With Jesse giving him the lift off in the spot, he failed. It's stark hilarity. It was hilarious watching that thing. His best bench is maybe 550, which is good, but it's not no fucking 700. That's for sure. And what's sad is about him, I never got to know him, but I guess he got involved with the underground up in Canada, the mafia, Hannibal, and he was selling illegal cigarettes to the Indians, and they didn't like that. He was on somebody else's turf, so that wasn't good. Then he just got shot. Someone who knew him. And this was around, Paul told me this when Paul was working in my store here when he was younger, before I got into wrestling. Someone knew him. He was sitting in his living room watching TV like he was relaxed, and he was just blown away by a machine gun. So it must have been someone who knew him, and they put the job on him. There was an amount on his head because he was in the wrong territory. He was, he shouldn't have been, I guess, selling cigarettes. What do they call that? Illegal cigarettes, trading that where it's all underground. He was doing that, and it was in someone else's territory. Yeah, there's a mob up there too,
Oh yeah, big time in Quebec. Last fan
kind of tied up with them too.
Yeah. I think he was married. He married into it or something. Vic Catroni. He was his uncle. Okay. Was his wife.
The Italian, yeah. And he would have had a good run too. I mean, he was a decent worker, but that cut it short, man. That was horrific. Apparently, that's what it's called. Contraband.
Contraband cigarettes. Yeah. Last fan question I'll ask here from Rick. He wants to know your memories of Corporal Kirshner and Paul Orndorff.
Paul was great. I wish he was alive today because he'd come up to me in the locker room because you shoot the shit a lot in the locker room and at the gyms. And I made Orndorff laugh his ass off. I go, Paul, this fucking federation, Vince's federation, he's got everybody, every fucking character but an Eskimo. He pissed his pants laughing at that. He always brought that up when he saw me too, And he was a big hunter. He loved hunting. with a bow. And he also was in business. He bought a couple bowling alleys. The guy was good. Now, that was a tough guy, too, because I heard he got in a fight with Atlas when they were at Mid-South together. And he bit Atlas's fucking his lower ear off, you know?
They like to bite back then, those guys.
Yeah, bite.
They're vicious.
Yeah. I guess that's crazy, you know? But, and then Kirshner, he was good. He was a good guy. I don't know. They didn't give him a push. I know he got the LJN doll. When did he leave and why? And is he still around?
No, he died a few years ago, and I think I think he had his personal demons, from what I understand.
What does this tell you about this carny life, Hannibal?
It did. Oh, I'm well aware of the bad side of it, and I'm trying to stay away from that. I'll try and use guys like you as a role model. The problem is you grow up looking at some of these guys as heroes.
It's hackneyed prose, so to speak. But I owe it to my parents. I mean, they said, get into it, but if you're going to do it, whether it's acting, lifting, wrestling, work hard at it. And I did that. And luckily I had, who was a good model too, the Briscoe brothers. While they were wrestling, they also had their auto parts store, and they were into real estate. And that to me is like pretty ballsy. These guys that were great wrestlers and good tag team, and they used that same tenacity and their resources and their ambition and their endurance to make their businesses work. So I think you got to be more than what you say, one-dimensional. And I think that helps you ahead. Because if you just depend on wrestling, that's where you get the head games, man. And that's where a lot of these guys, they ride that wave and it's the balls, but they can't take the fucking crash,
Yeah, that's true. So May the 3rd is your big signing that you have coming up.
May 3rd, yeah, Manchester, New Hampshire. Weightlifters Warehouse right here in downtown in the Mill Yard. And it's free signing. I have no problem giving free signings away and free raffles for 2 of the packaged wrestling dolls that if I sign them and you put them on the internet, I think they go for $2,000 right now. I just saw in the other day, Hannibal, I saw a Bruno Sammartino, and I know he passed, but there was a signed one in the package still. They want $8,000. So I'll tell you, man, so much for the ones with the package. Try to get those. That's like a fucking kid's college support,
Yeah. So you got your hands on one that's still in the package.
I got a few. Yeah,
Okay,
I got a few. And Vince gave me a bunch too when they came out, And I still think that was the best doll. These other dolls they got now, they look like shit. They're just, I don't know. They're too plasticky. They don't look as solid. And we were wrestlers. We looked the part,
Yeah, those ones you could bash them together and stuff, and they wouldn't break.
Exactly. Actually, the best ones are the first ones that came out. If you can get a package of those with Andre Stud or Hogan in the package, that's going to be worth a shitload of money. But everybody just opened those up when they came out because they were new in the scene. But let me ask you this: what did you think of WrestleMania?
I only saw highlights of it. I wasn't really into it this year.
Yeah.
Did you see it?
I saw some of it. I saw Paul Levesque. I saw Triple H's induction, and I'm glad he mentioned me. That was pretty cool. And but I think it's kind of diluted now. I don't know. You don't have it over 2 days.
Yeah, I don't think it was worth.
Time, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's a long, and it's a lot of money if you're paying $10,000 for front row seats 2 nights. That's $20,000.
Yeah. I don't know. I think.
But yeah, the 2 days to me that they should have all the best of the best all one night, because I heard it didn't even make the top 10 Netflix shows on either night.
Exactly.
But yeah.
Hey, yeah. Speaking of Netflix, I think my one of my movies is still on there. One of the independent ones that I did. It was almost like my breaking out sort of film. It's called Donald Cried, like Donald Trump. Donald Cried.
Okay.
And we went to South by Southwest. We won a lot of awards there for the movie um, celebration they have down there, like kind of like Sundance, but South by Southwest. I think that's bigger. And that was cool, but that's still on Netflix. I'm getting a nice check for that. Are you shitting me? So there was 10 shows that had more play than fucking WWE, huh?
Yeah, and that reminds me, for WrestleMania 2, for that battle royal, how did it work with the football players? Were they actually trained, or was that a
Um,
practice
what do
match?
you think? What do you think? Did you see it?
It seemed, yeah, it seemed a little awkward.
It was, but it just felt cool because you could still rumble with them, and just being out there, throwing meat around, punching, holding guys, pressing guys. It was almost like an exhibition for me. And I loved it because here's the whole fucking world looking at 20 people in a ring. I mean, it was crazy, all the buildup and everything. I mean, there's another great thing Vince did. Put me in WrestleMania 4 months out of fucking wrestling school. That is unbelievable, you know?
Yeah.
That was a good thing how they simulcast that with two other LA, Chicago, and New York. That was a mastermind. I still think the Bundy Hogan thing was phenomenal. That was phenomenal. And then, of course, you can't forget Uncle Elmer against Adonis. That's where Adonis, he looked like a toy. I'm just amazed. I'm still amazed, even though he's gone. That guy could take a bunch. That's athletic, man. Him and Heening, man. Athleticism. That's really athleticism.
Yeah.
And don't
Yeah.
forget, fucking Triple H. He could take some bumps too, man.
There you go. Well, we're going to get that message to him.
Thank you. Thank you. Give him my cell number. You got my cell
Definitely.
number, right?
I don't, but you could email it to me.
I'll
Or
text it to you. Yeah. So anyway, you guys are great. Thanks for the questions. And maybe we'll see you in a couple of years. All right. But stay tuned. I'm doing my thing. And I hope you're doing your thing too. Stay healthy, guys.